For the last half a year, I'm doing different game design tasks using the ChatGPT. I also use some other AIs like Notion AI and Bing in the beginning. But basically what I'm going to talk about today is how this ChatGPT, in general, right, not just the exact ChatGPT, can enhance your game design abilities, let's put it this way. Starting from basics, what exactly does ChatGPT do for you as the game designer? What can it do? It can enrich your concept, and I will talk about each of these in details later. It can help you make balance and economic calculations. It can help you create stories and different narrative. Generate content, which is basic and probably you've heard a lot about it. And also it helps you to fix some design documentation as well. Starting from concept enrichment. Imagine you have a game, you have a concept of a game in your head, but you don't understand like fully what it will be, how it's gonna make in the audience. And you can put it in a ChatGPT and ask how I could enrich this concept. How can I make more cool features that will help this concept fly away? How to say? Up to the moon. It also helps you fill in some empty sections, like you have understanding of the audience, but you're not sure whether you should aim for the audience in like MENA region or tier 1 countries, and ChatGPT can help you like find the optimized solution to this. It also helps you with some pivoting, like you're making this concept but you're not sure it will really work, and you can ask this ChatGPT to help you to do something, like propose how you can turn this design to something else that will work better than what you think will work. As for balance and calculations, it helps you with checking the balance. For example, you're feeding it with some formulas or with the exact balance, how you want to proceed, and it will help you find some poor ideas or something that will not work. It also helps you with the proofreading the formulas. For example, you say, I want this thing to be done with a certain percentage of success, and here's the formula I'm gonna use, and the ChatGPT will help you. It's like helping the programmers do their code, for example. And also you can emulate balance. You can feed it with some huge and complex formulas. For example, I had a case where I had to come up with a balance, and it included like 12 parameters. Some of them were range-based, like 10 to 20% of success and things like that. And the ChatGPT answered with the Python script, which I ran through Google Colab to see if it really works the way I want it to work. For example, I want, like, you know, like in match 3 games, this level must be completed in the first run only by 1% of players. You can put this in the model, feed it to GPT, and it will answer with the proper script to check it. Stories and narrative. ChatGPT is a system that understands human language, and it can talk in human language. And you can, for example, assign a role to it. Like, okay, you are the director of, I don't know, milk factory, and I am the guy who wants to buy a ton of milk. Now, come up with 2 answers. One will be okay, you can buy it, and another will be like, no, you cannot buy it, our cows are dead. And the ChatGPT will come up with these answers and fully with the tone you want to set and things like that. It can also act differently in the same situations. Like, for example, if you write in an RPG game and like with dialogues and stuff, and you want, okay, this situation is a player wants to react to an NPC, for example, from the strength standpoint or from wisdom standpoint. So write different replies on the same question. And finally, it can evaluate emotion, which is quite cool. Like, okay, I want you to come up with 3 different replies to this exact to this text, and also please map the emotions to these replies so we can, like, I don't know, paint them in the game in different colors, like using the Plutchik's wheel. Content generation, you probably heard of it, like, okay, come up with 100 names for an NPC, or with describe 10 asymmetrical maps for Counter-Strike, which is I tried it and it did. Like it came up with okay, so there is a map of a lost, forgotten village. It has like 3 tunnels on the left and 1 underground tunnel on the right. There are things like that, so we can understand the context and it can bring it to you. And barks, that's kind of cool. You're making an RPG, heavy RPG with NPCs that say like 1-line monologues, or just these small barks, like 2-3 words. And you can set it like, okay, I want you to write 20 barks for NPC in this particular early medieval village setting, and it will come up with them. I tried it, and it like, okay, one will tell, oh, my life is so hard, and the other will say, oh, it's time to plow the fields, and things like that. It's really cool in content generation, probably one of the best. It will save you a lot of time. As for the design docs, it's an interesting. I also tried this one. So let's say you have a design, but it's not mapped into some template, and you feed the template, then you feed the plain text to the ChatGPT, and it will map it to you. It will say, okay, this goes to this section, that goes to that section, and also it can help you fill the gaps. Like you forgot to, I don't know, to describe the goals of the feature. Like you set the problem, you described why this feature is important, but you didn't set the goals. The ChatGPT can understand the context and put the goals in for you. Also, it can help you cut what's not really fit this design, and add sections to those that are missing. These were like small tasks, right? Very atomized. Like, okay, I can feed it to receive some answers. I can generate, I don't know, names and stuff like that. But imagine you're a game designer and you have a feature to do. And this feature, of course, it consists of many smaller tasks. So, for example, if you need to create a new hero for a mobile battler RPG, you will have to come up with the name, with the background of this hero, with his abilities, with his like strengths and weaknesses, things like that. So you feed the context. Like we had 50 other heroes which has these abilities, and ChatGPT will come up with the new ones. And for game designers who work on these complex and large projects with like 10 years history, it's really hard to come by with something new, right? To come up with something new, like something that hasn't been done in the game before. And that's why ChatGPT, as a like huge database that communicates in a human language, can help you. Again, let's say you're making an adventure game, right, with the farm setting. And you have a complex task. You have to come up with a new location and quests for it. And you have to like, okay, I need to do the setting. I need to come up with this setting. I need to create quests, NPCs, points of interest, a lot of stuff. And you decompose this huge task into different tasks that I described before, and it will come up eventually. It will save you a lot of time. And also you can create an event for a game. But to communicate with ChatGPTs or I don't know, Notion AI and stuff like that, there are some ground rules that you have to follow. First of all, you have to use only the latest ones, because there's a huge gap between, let's say, ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4. It really works with different amount of context, with different amount of tokens that it can use, many things like that. The next one, and it's also very important, is to keep it simple. I understand that you talk with the ChatGPT as a human, right? You write in human language, you receive answers in human language, but try to keep it simple, because the less context there is, the more precise the answer will be. Also, it's also quite notoriously known that the ChatGPT can lie, right? They call it hallucinate. For the version 4, it's less, but sometimes it can come up with things that are not real, and it's really useful to check the facts that you will be fed from the ChatGPT. And also be patient, because operating the ChatGPT it requires a lot of patience, because you come up with the first prompt and you understand that's not what you wanted. The reply is not what you expect, so you have to polish it again and again and again. So, for example, to make a simple thing like, you're this role and I want you to reply this way, it took me like half a day before I came to the output I really needed. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, there is a Telegram chat for game designers who work with ChatGPTs. We share our case studies and uses in this chat, so you're welcome to join and share your stories. And if you have anything you want to talk about the ChatGPT and how your game design was enhanced by it, you're welcome. Okay, so no one has anything to say. Okay, I have a question for you. Maybe you have stumbled upon it, maybe not. So let's take ChatGPT 3.5. How do you put it in? How do you put in the context the amount of symbols that it must use to answer? Because I have a huge problem. I have to work with 3.5 because I use it the API. So API for ChatGPT 4 is not available yet. And when I want them to reply to me like an answer that must be fit in like 200 symbols, it never does. So maybe you have stumbled upon this one and can share your experience? Sure.
Actually, I did. Just recently I was writing what's new for update of the game. And if you know stores like Google Play and App Store, they have limits for what's new section. And I was writing a short one for Google Play, which is just 500 symbols. And it was like, write me a summary of this list of features in 500 symbols. And it's like, write you 600. Again, try to formulate another way. And eventually, it's just, I was adding more and more symbols with each question from my side. And eventually I made it like to 480, but it never worked like exactly as we want to. I didn't figure it out exactly, but it just allowed me to add more step by step.
Did you use the 3.5?
I think I was using Bing, so it's probably the fourth one already.
Yeah, it uses the fourth.
But anyways, the problem was still the same.
I see. Anything else to discuss? Or you're eagerly waiting to run away from here?
Thank you for the presentation. My question was, I tried to generate concepts for the game I'm working at. It's a mobile game for humans. And eventually, well, usually most of the responses of ChatGPT, they're pretty general, you know? Like, you need tournament with a competition between players, so something like that. How could you manage to get some more specific, more precise? Do you maybe give it more information on the events you already have or something like that?
Basically, that's when you have to come up as a game designer. You have to think for yourself. You have the game and you have more context than ChatGPT does. So you have to add more context, like your game is for, in this genre, for this audience, I don't know, these markets, it has this amount of content, these kind of events, as you rightly, yeah, you're right. Just telling what you already do, and it will try to find the proper proposals for your particular game, given the context. So just give more context. Okay. Thank you very much.